Welcome to Man Culture on the Skids. We're a group of friends who love food and drink. Every episode features different dishes, beers, drinks, as well as all things Texas and guy culture, according to us. My name's Fredo. This is Tino.
All right, folks. We are doing an episode on Gumbo today. With Mardi Gras right around the corner, we wanted to show you our award-winning recipe for Gumbo with the Holy Trinity team. All three of us are here. And with our special resident Kunas, our special guest resident Kunas, Miles Garner. He will show us the recipe that we used in this Gumbo. Miles?
Thank you for having me, guys. I really appreciate it. No, that's not how I really talk, guys.
I thought everybody in Louisiana talked that way.
No, just Coach O. But no, I appreciate you guys having me on today. You know, I'm really excited about making Gumbo, obviously. You know, you guys were part of the Holy Trinity team. You know, award-winning Gumbo right here. So today what I'm going to walk y'all through every step of the Gumbo process. And we're talking about the ingredients.
Wait, what part of Louisiana are you from?
Oh, man, I'm not from Louisiana. I'm from Texas.
Fredo.
Don't worry about him. Let's talk some Gumbo, Tino. So, let's talk about the ingredients first here, guys. So, I got a palette here, list of ingredients that we're going to use today. So, the basics, first steps, you got to have the Holy Trinity here. You got bell peppers, onions. I use a nice yellow onion. Some people use a sweet onion. You can definitely do that to give you a little different flavor profile. And celery. It's a little different than a mirepoix, though. Like, Tina, you know what a mirepoix is, right?
Something French, what?
Yeah,
Maybe.
so...
Sounds French to me.
Pretty much. It is French, you know, so, but Louisiana put their own little twist on it, you know?
Of course they did.
Of course we did. So, the difference between a Trinity and a mirepoix is really one main ingredient and then the portions. So, in a mirepoix, it's going to be 2 parts onion to 1 part celery to 1 part carrot. With the Holy Trinity, we're going to have 1 part onion, 1 part celery, and we're going to get rid of that carrot, and we're going to substitute bell pepper. So that's going to be your Holy Trinity. That's going to be the basis for a lot of your Louisiana cooking.
All right.
So from there, we have flat leaf Italian parsley here. We're going to add that at the very end, so we'll talk about that later. Your meats are very important. We have chicken thighs that we're going to use today. We also have andouille sausage here.
Why can't chicken thighs versus, why can't I use chicken breast? What?
You can definitely use chicken breasts. White meat versus dark meat. It's just a flavor profile thing. Dark meat's going to give you a little more flavor. It's going to be a little easier. To me, the white meat tends to shred. Sometimes gets a little dried out, even though we're cooking the chicken in the liquid. I just like to use thighs. You know, we're not trying to get skinny off of Gumbo here
no,
at all.
Absolutely not.
So I say go thighs. Add that extra flavor. But yeah, andouille sausage, that's super important. You really want to get a high quality sausage. There's a lot of sausages out there. There's a lot of bad sausages out there. Like if you have a local market that sells a solid andouille sausage, you know, Louisiana-based one, go and get it.
So what's the difference between an andouille sausage or a regular sausage, just a pork or beef sausage blend versus an andouille sausage?
It's not so much the ingredients in it. It's just the way it's prepared. Most sausages is ground meat in a case, whereas an andouille is more chunked meats or diced meats, or however you want to call it.
Would that explain the chunk of fat in the casing?
Exactly. Okay. You're getting that chunk of fat. You know, you're not getting it all ground up and mixed, blended together like you would in a ground meat. So yeah, so from there, like I said, chicken thighs, andouille sausage, garlic, of course, as much or as little garlic as you want. I'm gonna use about 6 cloves a day, but feel free to add 10. It doesn't really matter. Bay leaves, you know, different seasonings here. Pretty simple, you know, seasoning palette here. We got paprika here. We have salt. We have coarse ground black pepper. We have cayenne pepper here. Right here, with our liquids, we add a little Worcestershire sauce. We're gonna do a chicken stock base. If you're doing a seafood gumbo, feel free to use seafood stock. You know, that's gonna obviously, you know, set off the flavors of that seafood that you have in there, crab, shrimp, and
how would you make a seafood stock if you want to do a little seafood gumbo?
Sure. So yeah, stocks are super easy. It's a lot of vegetables and a lot of protein bones or shells. So if you're making a seafood stock, if you have crab shell, say you just had a crab boil or a crawfish boil or a shrimp boil, whatever, take all those shells, throw them in the pot with your celery, your leeks, your onions, carrots, what have you. Big pot of water and just let that sucker boil as long as you can. And it's just give you a lot of flavor. So, same thing with chicken stock. you're going to take chicken bones and whole chickens and stuff like that and throw it in there with water and all the vegetables and boil it down.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so again, Worcestershire sauce. Then the very most important part, or I guess second most important part next to the Trinity, is going to be the roux. In my opinion, is actually the most important part.
I would have to agree with you. I think the roux is the most important part of this recipe.
Most definitely, it is. And there's a lot of different ways we can go with the roux. It's color that you're looking for, consistency of it, and all roux are essentially made the same way. It's going to be equal parts flour to fat. Your fat's going to differ. You can use butter, you can use oil, you can use a lard of some sort. Today we're going to use bacon fat because we cooked off a bunch of bacon. We got a bunch of bacon fat. Let's throw it in there. It's just going to add kick it up another level.
Absolutely. That was part of our recipe in the Holy Trinity award-winning gumbo. Was we made breakfast tacos for everybody, but we made bacon to get this bacon fat, and we were able to use it in our roux, which was outstanding. I can't wait for you guys to see this.
Yeah. Let's get started on it. Let's get started on the roux right now.
Excellent.
So I've already added the bacon grease here to the pot and heat it down. If you're going to have butter or a congealed fat or something, you're going to let it melt down into a liquid form here. It's and then you're just going to gradually add the cup of flour to it, making sure to kind of blend as you go. It's going to sizzle a little bit. Don't worry about that. That's natural. It's just, get it incorporated. Do it in parts so that you don't have all these big lumps in it. Once you've made a few gumbos, you can pretty much do the whole cup in there and it won't matter. You'll know what you're doing at that point. But you can see it's starting to blend nice and bubbly, which is what we want. Get it around there.
So everybody's scared to make the roux when it comes to gumbo. A lot of people get really anxious about that versus high heat, low heat. You just got to cook it where you're comfortable.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest tip to give someone. Where you're comfortable. I would say if you're a novice, start off at a low temperature or a medium low. It's and kind of gradually go from there. Once you've made a bunch of them, you can do it on a high heat because the biggest thing with roux is it takes time.
Right.
But if you don't have a lot of time, if you want to get the roux done, then you're going to have to kick the heat up. But if you've never done it before, you really don't want to work with hot grease and flour on a high heat.
Look at how this is getting.
Yeah, already it's starting to get that thick. I don't know what you call it, a paste. I mean, it's a roux. It's what it is. Yeah. But you get that different look there. Go ahead and add that rest of that flour there for me, Tino.
Absolutely.
Perfect. Almost all the way. Go ahead and dump it all in. All right, perfect.
Boom.
So it's a labor of love. You want to make sure you're constantly keeping an eye on it. So if you have it on a high heat, you better be right there the whole time. You can be chopping vegetables and doing that stuff, but you need to turn around to that roux, every minute or so. Make sure you're not burning it. Burnt roux, you don't want a burnt roux. That's the worst thing you could possibly have.
So dark, just when it gets dark, it's not burnt. You don't want the burnt roux.
Right. And I think, there's a couple rules of thumb for it. There's different types of gumbos. And when I say different types, I mean, kind of regionally in Louisiana. You have a Cajun-style gumbo, and you have a Creole-style gumbo. And also you use roux in other Louisiana dishes like an etouffee or something like that, right?
Love crawfish or shrimp etouffee.
Etouffee is awesome. That's a much lighter roux than your gumbos are. So you might only cook a roux for 10 minutes for an etouffee, and then a Cajun gumbo is going to be a lot lighter in color. Mm-hmm. So your roux is not going to take as long. You're going to get that peanut butter color that everybody talks about.
Okay.
But for a Creole gumbo, you're going to go for a very dark gumbo. So you're going to cook it, maybe 30, maybe 45 minutes, depending on your pots, your temperature, and whatever. It's and you're going to have almost that black gumbo.
So the Holy Trinity award-winning gumbo. What color? Where did we go with our roux?
We went Creole. So a lot of my gumbos tend to have a balance between the two. I do a Cajun/Creole gumbo.
Okay.
But our roux was a very Creole style gumbo. We went really dark on it, almost to the point of burning it. you'll start to smell it when you're cooking. It's gonna smell like burning. Like that's just what happens. All you have in here is fat and flour. You're gonna smell burning. Don't worry about that when you're cooking the gumbo. Like just keep stirring it. If you have like chunks of black bits, then maybe crank that heat down a little bit. But for the most part, as long as you're stirring it pretty constantly, you're gonna be okay. But yeah, so if you want to go Creole, if you like a dark gumbo, get that dark. It's almost like a chocolate brown. If you want a more Cajun style gumbo, you're gonna want that peanut butter color. That kind of in between a brown and a chocolate.
This roux is looking really good right now. Absolutely. Look at that. It's thickening up.
For sure. And we'll go, like I said, we're not even close to where we need to be for it, but we'll keep an eye on it and we'll get there.
All right.
So while our fake Cajun is over there working on the gumbo, we decided to come outside and drink a little Louisiana beer. It's a pleasant day here in Houston. Yeah, I'm drinking Ghost in the Machine from Parish in Broussard, Louisiana. Double IPA. Very delicious. Very potent. So you gotta be careful with this one. But it is one of my favorites.
Alfredo, where is Broussard, Louisiana?
Broussard is near Lafayette.
Is it south? I think it's south of Lafayette.
Yeah.
About 3 or 4 miles Lafayette. I'm drinking Wrought Iron IPA from Abitabrewing. It's one of their. They have a Yakimo IPA, but I think this Wrought Iron IPA is probably my favorite of their beers. So I don't know exactly where Abita is, but Alfredo has one of their shirts. So obviously he has been there.
I was actually there last weekend. So it's in Abita Springs. So if you've ever been to New Orleans, Lake Pontchartrain. So it's north of Lake Pontchartrain. You would go across the causeway into Mandeville, and then it's just very close to Mandeville. It's actually part of Mandeville if you really want to be honest about it. But it's right there. It's a great more crafty kind of brewery. It's a cool spot. I recommend it. The pub there is amazing. The food is great. People are great. Next time you're driving through Louisiana, definitely stop there.
So I've been to a couple of breweries in New Orleans. I love that town. The food and the cocktails. Their beer scene is just coming up, but they have some breweries there that I've been to. Goodness, God. I was like, I had him on the
NOLA. Keep going.
NOLA Brewing, Urban South Brewing is another one, and
Parish.
No. Tin Roof.
I'm not pausing because I can't really move.
Right.
My
Tin
back
Roof
is spasming.
Yeah.
Go ahead. NOLA.
No. Yeah. So I've been to New Orleans, so there are a few New Orleans breweries. Louisiana's coming up in the craft beer scene. New Orleans surprisingly doesn't have as many as you would think. They're big in cocktails, but NOLA Brewing, Urban South Brewing are huge in New Orleans. And actually, Urban South is opening a brewery here in Houston, and I can't wait to go. They open here very soon.
Yeah, man. Cheers.
Alright, so while they were out there drinking, so I was working on the roux here. I already added our fat to the pot. Let that kind of render it a little bit, let it melt it down. If you're using butter, you want that melt, all that good stuff. So right now, we're a little darker than what you would use for, say, an etouffee. And from this point, the next level up is going to be your Cajun style gumbo. We have a nice peanut butter color flavor here already.
You could still use this, though.
I'd say, yeah, at the very base level, you could use this in your gumbo.
Okay.
You could stop here and start working.
Okay.
And start adding other ingredients to it. I'd say go a little bit darker, maybe like another 5 minutes or so. Like maybe kick that heat up to medium, cook it for about another 5 minutes, get a little bit darker peanut butter color, and then start adding all your other ingredients to it. But from here, I do want to start seasoning. Biggest thing, I say biggest thing a lot, obviously. It's like there's not a lot of biggest things, but another tip, you want to season all layers of your gumbo. what that means is you want to season your roux, you want to season your vegetables, you want to season your stock, all to taste, obviously. So we're going to take all of our spices, our paprika, our salt, our pepper, our cayenne, and we're going to add it into the roux before we start adding other ingredients to it. All right?
I remember this from our award-winning competition.
Yeah,
at
you want to
every
have
level,
just as level, because that way you're not going to get bland.
Right.
Because there's so many different levels of the gumbo, it's different stages. You want to make sure they all kind of taste the same. You know?
Right.
So we're gonna start adding a little stuff to it. So we're gonna add a little black pepper. I'd say probably about a tablespoon of black pepper to that. Same with the salt. You don't go crazy with the salt. Everything's gonna have, you don't want a salty gumbo, really. Unless you're doing like a seafood. Even if you're doing a seafood, you're gonna already have your salt coming from your seafood. So maybe, like I said, about a tablespoon. I like to use a coarse grain, maybe a kosher salt on that. Will you pass me that, please? Offstage person. Thank you. Magic. This is movie making, guys. That's what that is. So this little nice paprika here. I say, paprika is a very underrated spice, Tina. I don't know if you agree with that or not.
I have to agree with you, and it's only probably within the last year that I've recognized that importance of paprika.
There's a lot of levels of it. It's a classic Indian, Middle Eastern spice. It comes from red bell peppers, just ground down, dried and ground down. But it just adds so many flavors. You can really get a quality paprika. You don't have to buy the off-the-shelf store brand paprika. I say, if you buy paprika, because it is a cheap spice too, go ahead and kick it up a notch. Get that next level up on the paprika. So we have the paprika, salt, pepper, cayenne. This will be our last spice we're going to add to taste. If you like your gumbo super spicy, add a lot of cayenne. If you just like it mild, add a little bit of cayenne. If you don't like it spicy though, don't add a lot of cayenne. You want a little bit of heat, but don't go crazy with it. I like mine, nice medium. I want to taste my food, basically. So incorporate that. And again, we still have it on about a medium to medium low heat. On our stovetop here, we have it at about a 4, 5 being in the middle, 6 or to be, what is that? 10 being high. So we got it on about a 4 right now.
Well, that paprika already is adding color.
Yeah, it adds color to it. It adds color to a lot of foods. So I love using paprika. It's one of my favorite spices. I pretty much put it in everything. It really doesn't hurt anything. So right now, I'd say we are about at that Cajun level roux. That color you want there. This is a point where you can start adding your other ingredients to it, and we'll get to that here. We are going to take it up a notch. We're going to go a little darker than this. We're going to go to a more... I want to be able to show you guys what a Creole style roux looks like.
Yeah, I can already.
So we're going to go up to that level today, but if you're looking for a Cajun style gumbo, you can pretty much stop here and I think to be okay.
But we're doing our award-winning recipe.
We're doing the award-winning, exactly.
We're doing our award-winning recipe.
And
so
ours was a Creole roux.
Yeah.
Again, the recipe itself was very much a blend of Cajun and Creole. So I don't want to say that it was one or the other, because it wasn't. It was a combination of the two. So that's really the color you want your roux to be.
So now that we've shown you different stages of the roux, etouffee, Creole up to Cajun, Cajun to Creole, let's be back for part 2.
See you then.
Thank everybody for watching. If you like it, please subscribe, that big red button down there.
The red button.
And we will have more episodes. We're trying to do one every 2 weeks, but hopefully soon we'll do a little more often, maybe once a week, hopefully. So thank you guys.
Help it grow, guys. Help the channel grow.
Cheers.
Cheers.